Dear students, welcome to another video series by the Evergreen Mathematics Department. So today we'll be looking at Chapter 9 Percentage, Part 3 of the notes. Okay, so before I begin, this part of the notes basically teaches us how to approach questions that involve interest rates and installments. Okay, so just before I start, let me just recap the formula for simple interest. Okay, so the formula for simple interest is basically the principal, which is the initial amount that you put in, multiplied by the interest rate, multiplied by the number of months divided by 12. So that's your time period. Okay, so let's look at exercise 1. In exercise 1, Mr. Jin borrows $45,000 from a bank for 3 years at a simple interest rate of 4.5% per annum. Okay, so the first question, first part requires us to simply find the interest rate Mr. Jin has to pay the bank. Okay, this is a relatively simple question. We are just going to apply the formula on top. Okay, so interest rate is principal, so 45,000 multiplied by the rate. The rate is 4.5%, so 4.5 over 100 multiplied by number of months divided by 12. So 1 year, there's 12 months. Okay, so 3 years will be 3 times 12 months. Okay, divided by 12. So you realize that in this case, the 12 cancels out. So we just simply multiply by 3. Okay, and if you were to check, this answer would give $6,075. Okay, so that is simply the first part A. So let's look at part B. Part B requires us to find the total amount that Mr. Jin needs to pay the bank. Okay, so the total amount he has to pay the bank, okay, so let us write it down. Total amount is simply the principal, which is how much he borrowed initially plus the interest. Okay, so the principal he borrowed was $45,000, and for him to borrow it for 3 years at this rate, he would have incurred this amount of interest, which we have found in part A, $6,075. Right, that would give us, summing up, we would have $51,075. Okay, that would be how much he has to pay the bank after 3 years. Okay, so that is exercise 1. Let's look at exercise 2. Now this person, Peter, he deposits $3,600 in a bank, okay, for 3 years, okay, at an annual simple interest rate of 8%. So now, instead of having us to calculate the interest given the interest rate, the time period, and the principal, the question now is asking us, okay, how to calculate, right, the simple interest rate instead, okay, giving us the total interest he incurred. Okay, so in this case, I would simply write down an equation involving interest. So interest is given to be $162, right? And the formula for interest is given by the principal, so 3,600 multiplied by the rate. Okay, so the rate is 8%, so A over 100 multiplied by the time period. So in this case, 3 years, 3, and that will be equals to $162. Okay, and our job is simply to find the value of A. So this is a simple linear equation, so I just need you to simplify all of the numbers over here. You should be able to get 108A, which is equals to $162, right, making A the subject, so dividing 108 on both sides. That gives us 1.5, and that would be simply the interest rate we are looking for. Okay, so This is a relatively simple question as well. Let's look at exercise 3. Exercise 3. Mr. Ho bought a TV, right? Priced at $3,600. He made a deposit of $1,000 and he paid the rest, okay, through an installment of 2 years and a flat rate of 2% per annum. So now the question is asking us how much was his monthly installment, right? Corrected to 2 decimal places. So how do we approach this question? Okay, simple. Whenever you buy a item, right? When you buy an item, when you give a deposit, what happens is that you would do this thing called a down payment. So a deposit is also the same as a down payment. So after you do your down payment, okay, the amount of money you owe would be known as the outstanding balance. Okay, so outstanding balance must be the total amount minus how much deposit, okay, or down payment that you paid. So that would be equals to $2,600. Okay, so now this is the principal amount that we are working with. Okay, so in order to find how much money he owes, we have to find the interest incurred, okay, when he takes his time to pay this amount, $2,600. So the interest is simply given by 2,600 multiplied by the rate is 2% per annum, multiplied by the time period, so in this case is 2 years, right? 2, and that would give us $104. Okay, so the total amount that he owed would then be the outstanding balance, and we add the interest. That would give us $2,704. Okay, so now that we know how much money he owed, we need to know how long he takes to repay his loan. So in this case, he took 2 years, okay, to repay his loan. So the total monthly installment would simply be 2,704 divided by 2 years. Sorry. So 2 times 12, because a year has 12 months, so 2 years would be 24 months, and that would be equals to 112.67, corrected to 2 decimal place. Okay, so that is the answer for exercise 3. Let's look at exercise 4. Mrs. Ng, she bought a furniture price at $2,500. Okay, so what she did was that she paid a 10% deposit, and for the remaining outstanding balance, she took 18 installments at a flat rate of 4% per annum. Okay, so now in this question, we are assuming one installment paid per month. Okay, since we do not have any information, so let's just assume that every month she pays an installment, and in this case she took 18 months to pay 18 equal installments. Okay, so let's find out her outstanding balance first. So outstanding balance, okay, let me just shift this working to the side. Okay, so outstanding balance would be 90%, right? Since she paid 10% deposit, so she would have owed 90% of this furniture set. Okay, so recall 90% is 90 over 100 multiplied by 2,500. That would give you $2,250. So that's how much she owed. Okay, so now let's calculate how much interest that would incur, okay, taking the outstanding balance as the principal amount. Okay, so the interest is given by principal multiplied by rate. Rate is how much? 4%, so 4 over 100, multiplied by the total number of months, 18, divided by 12. Okay, that would give us $135. So this is the amount of interest she has incurred. Okay, so let's now calculate the total amount owed by Mrs. Ng. So the total amount owed is simply $2,250, and we sum $135, which is the interest. That would give us $2,385. So that's the total amount of money she owed. Now finally, like the previous question, exercise 3, we would like to find the monthly installment. So the monthly installment is basically, is basically the total amount of money owed, which is $2,385, divided by the total months she took to pay this installment, so 18, right? So that gives us $132.50. So this is how much she has to pay per month, right, under this interest rate and this installment period. Alright? Okay, so now we have come to the last question, exercise 5. Let's read the question together. Right, the price of a computer was $2,560. Okay, a company bought it by making a 25% down payment and monthly installments of $87.20 for 24 months. So what we want to do is calculate the flat rate of interest. Alright, okay, so this question might seem a little bit different from the previous ones, but let's just tackle it together. Okay, so as always, they would let you know how much down payment the person or the company paid. So in this case, 25% was the down payment, so the outstanding balance would be right 75% of 2,560. Okay, that would give us $1,920. Okay, so what is the total amount paid? Okay, so the total amount paid is made up of two different components. The first would be the outstanding balance, represented by OB for short. Okay, and of course the interest. So now we know the outstanding balance. This is 1,920. Can we find the total amount? Okay, so the total amount would simply be the number of monthly installment multiplied by the installment paid per month. Do you agree? Okay, so the total amount would simply be 24 months multiplied by $87.20. So that gives us $2,092.80. Okay, so that would be the total amount. Okay, next, after knowing the total amount, right, we can simply find the interest. So the interest incurred would simply be the difference between the total amount and the outstanding balance. Okay, so that would be 2092.80 minus 1920. Right, what would that give us? That would give us $172.80. Oops. Okay, right, so we know that the interest is given by this amount over here. Right. Now what do we want to do? We want to calculate the flat rate of interest. Correct. So since we know the interest, can we formulate an equation involving interest? Okay, so let me just simply move this over here, slightly below. Let me just work this out. So right, so I was saying the interest is given by the formula principal, which is, we know, our outstanding balance, so 1920, multiplied by the flat rate of interest. So in this case, let us just define the interest. So we can simply say let R be the interest rate. Okay, and then we would like to solve for R. Okay, so R over 100 and multiply by the time period. So the time period is 24 months, so 24 divided by 12 months, right? So likewise, okay, like in previous question, I'm sure you've seen this equation before. What you need to do is simply simplify the numbers, right? That you should be able to get 38.4 R equals to $172.80. Okay, and then finally dividing 38.4 on both sides. Okay, and we solve for R, which turns out to be 4.5. So therefore the interest is 4.5%, and we are done.